Hey, MMK back today with a story that I hope you'll enjoy. Leave it to you.
Here we go. This I'm gonna try to talk about some of the guys that that worked for Elvis. I'm gonna start with my friend Marty Lacker, who was my friend from many years, from '61 on until he passed away. And Marty was he was a strange sort of guy. I remember he had this kind of nervous condition, and he used to shake a lot. Well, this particular time was in California and on Perugia Way, where Elvis was living, and Marty was bringing Elvis his breakfast. Well, we saw this tray coming down the hall, and it was giving it, a lot of shaking. Elvis said a whole lot of shaking going on, but he got all the way to the den there, and he set the tray down, and Elvis looked at it, and there was coffee and his cream of wheat, and his orange juice was about half out, and about that much coffee. And he said, "That has got to be the darndest thing I've ever seen." And we was all sitting around, we all started laughing. He said, "Marty," he said, "would you go get me a cup of coffee? Another cup, please." He said, "and don't bring the pot." And but Marty was like that, and he was funny without being. And I remember another time, it just absolutely, I laughed until I couldn't. Elvis had called Marty to come up to the house and all, and we happened to be sitting around waiting and all, and anyway, found out later from his kids and his wife and all, Marty had really iced over. It was snowing and ice all over the place, and Marty, he was headed out, and he had his briefcase in his hand, boy, and he was getting out ready to go out to the car, and he was doing that shaking, and about that time his feet flew out from under him, and he laid down, I mean just right on the briefcase, and he slid all the way down the drive right out into the street on that briefcase, and we started laughing at him. After we heard the story, we started laughing, and Elvis said, "Well, that doesn't surprise me at all." But Marty, we all, I guess I was about as guilty as he was. We all had little lifts in our shoes to make ourselves feel a little taller. And Marty, well, anyway, and he got these lifts put in his shoes, and it looked like he was leaning forward. And I mean, that was the funniest thing to see him walk, and it looked like he was about to fall at any given time. And he was funny without really trying. I know that Marty, but he was an intelligent person. He actually talked to Elvis when Elvis decided he wanted to have something built off the back of the house and all. He was talking with Marty and all, and Marty said, "Well, he said, I got a brother-in-law, and he does that kind of work." And Marty actually had the thing drew up with him and his brother-in-law, which they called a jungle room. We just called it a den back then, and it had a fountain in it. So this all was Marty and his brother-in-law's doing, and he had a fountain in it, and of course it turned out to be one of the prettier rooms, of the house and all. But that was all Marty's idea and all, really, because Elvis wanted to extend the back of it. And like I say, Marty was he was a good person, and you had to know him. He had a very, very dry type way about him. Sense of humor was really dry. But and then you got Alan. Alan was a con artist, trickster.
Alan Fortis.
Alan Fortis. He was met Elvis in '57. Elvis liked him, and from there on, they were real good friends. And Alan, he used to, of course, he pulled jokes on all of us, or conned us in one way or another. this particular time, I ain't gonna tell one on myself because I'm a little bit, whatever. But anyway, this is about Joe, Joe Esposito, and Alan they had got to arguing. Well, Alan played football in high school. At college, he was actually fairly fast in a 50-yard dash. So he told Joe, that he could outrun him. And of course, Alan was a short, stocky type guy, and you wouldn't think he could run. But anyway, he told Joe, he said, you couldn't outrun a snail, man. Now they got to arguing, and I was standing there just kind of looking at both of them, and we was on the lot of Paramount, and there was a long, roadway there. So they marked off 50 yards, and they was going to run. Well, Alan told him, he said, look, he said, I'll race you for $5 from here down to there. He said, I'll race you. He said, you ain't nothing. Well, Joe had already gotten stirred up by this time, and he said, okay, I'll take that bet. He said, let's just. So they lined up, and they took off, and boy, Joe was really getting it, and Alan was just barely trotting. Well, Joe got down there, and he said, okay, big mouth, he said, give me my $5. And Alan said, no. He said, you give me my $5. He said, why? He said, I beat you. Joe did. He told Alan, he said, I beat you. You give me my $5. Alan said, no, you give me my $5. And Joe said, what are you talking about? He said, look. He said, I told you I'd race you for $5. He said, I didn't say anything about beating you. He said, now give me my $5. And Elvis said, looks like he's got you, Joe. But Alan was that way with everybody. Boy, he could trick you in a minute. Then you got, oh gosh, Richard Davis. Richard was just, he was just a fun guy to be around. And I don't know. I got to tell this one. Because it's comical. Somebody had called, and Richard answered the phone. And they were talking, and I heard Richard say something about look, I don't care what you say. It don't matter to me one way or the other. And they was arguing about something. I don't know. And finally, Richard said, see if I sound like I'm hanging up. And he stuck the phone to his butt, and he pooted. He said, now see if that sounds like I'm hanging up. Yep. Oh, gosh. We had all kind of stuff going on all the time.
Richard was one of the funniest. I loved him to death.
Everybody did. Yeah, everybody loved
Richard
him.
was something else.
And then you got, oh, gosh, I don't know, man. You got all of them. All of them had a certain way about them, and we'll get into more about the guys.
I was going to say, we'll tell more about that.
More about them as we go along, But it's been fun talking about these guys, and we talk more about them as videos go along,
And we miss them all.
And we do. We miss them all.
Always.
And they'll, always be a part of my life. I know that. And but time goes on, and things go on, and I'm gonna turn it back over to you because I've said all I need to say.
Well, like I said, just want to say, hey, appreciate you watching. And we're gonna have more videos coming in the future.
Elvis fans.
And
whoa.
And Daddy has something.
I just thought of this, and I've got to. We had 2018 Elvis Week, and I just want to say, man, that I thank all of the fans that came out to see us. I mean, it was more than I ever expected, and I thank them, and and I appreciate it. And
it's John Daly's event.
And John Daly's event, and we had a lot of fun and a lot of people, and just want to say, that golly, that made me feel a little bit like Elvis might have felt when so many people came to see him, and that was such an honor for me. Thank you all, and hope to see you again soon.
We love you, and remember, we always live Elvis.